video, we're going to review vertex form. It's y equals a x minus h squared plus k. And what you need to understand is that the a is going to be in front of the squared term. And if it opens up, it's positive. If it opens down, it's negative. If the absolute value of a is greater than 1, it's going to rise fast. It's going to be tall. And if it's a and the absolute value of a is between 0 and 1, it's going to be wider. H modifies x, so you're always going to see it inside the parentheses. And when you take the opposite value, if the opposite value is positive, it moves to the right. If the opposite value is negative, it moves to the left. And k moves the function up or down, depending on whether it's positive or negative. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice writing a few functions, and then we'll practice looking at the graphs. So it's very important that you understand how to write the equation. And I can't zoom in. I got this. I can do this. Here we go. All right. Let's say that we have this graph and we want to translate it 6 units upward. Well, that means that k equals 6. Remember, k is the constant that you at the end, so this is just going to be x squared plus 6. And for those of you not following, this is your basic function, right? So what you want to do is you want to add k to the squared term, which we did. The graph of y equals x squared is translated 4 units downward. Downward means k equals -4. So you take the function and you bring it down 4 units. We want to have a graph of y equals x squared that is translated 7 units to the left. 7 units to the left means h equals -7. But remember, this is opposite. Okay? In the function, you're going to put it in as the opposite. That means you're going to have a plus sign in the function. So h modifies the x inside the parentheses. So it's going to be plus 7 squared. Okay? The opposite goes back into the function. We want to modify this graph and we're going to translate it 5 units to the right. So that means h equals 5. But when we put it in the function, it's going to be opposite. Remember, h modifies the x, so it's got to go in the parentheses. So when you put it back, you got to put it in opposite. A few more examples, and then we'll get to the graph. We want to translate the graph 8 units to the left. To the left means h equals -8. But when we put it back into the function, every time we put h back into the function, we do it opposite. H modifies the function, modifies the x, so it goes in the parentheses. We want to translate this function 3 units to the right. That means h equals 3. Since when we put h back into the function, we do it with the opposite sign. That means this function will be moved 3 units to the right. We want to stretch something vertically by a factor of 8. That means a equals 8. So then this just becomes 8x squared. Right, because the a goes in front of the quadratic term. We want to compress something vertically by a factor of 1/5. Okay. So y equals 1/5 x squared. In these exercises, we're going to go through 6 of them, and we're going to look to see what the transformations were. So when I look at this, this tells me that this means k equals 2. It means it moves up 2. Well, actually, just get the vertex. Opposite, keep. So it's going to be -2, 2. And so you plot negative 2, 2. And you look at your A value equals 1. So you go up 1, up 1. You know, that's literally what you need to know. And it opens up because A is positive. Alright, in plotting these, this means first you read the vertex. So the vertex is opposite of this one. So it's 1, 4. That means it moved right 1 unit, up 4 units. And so 1 and then 4. And A equals 1, so it's going to open up 1. So you go up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, and that's it. And see, this right here is the origin, right? Look at the new vertex 1, 4. This literally means that it moved to the right ones and it went up ones, okay? Number 3, y equals, and for those of you that are on your devices, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. I'm going down instead of up. Okay. When you look at this in vertex form, we know that the vertex is negative 3, 4. So what does this mean? It means that it moved to the left 3 units, up 4 units. You just find the vertex, negative 3, 4. Does this open up or down? It opens up, and A equals 1, so this height difference is going to be 1. It really is this simple. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Oh, look, a challenge. A equals negative 1. So that means it's going to open down. H is negative 3. And K is 2. So that means this is going to, remember, this is your H and that's your K. It's going to move to the left 3, up 2. Just plot the vertex, negative 3, 2. And it opens down. A equals negative 1, so you go down 1, down 1. That's it. Alright, we're going to keep this review going. 5. Ooh, A equals 4. And the vertex is, this is the opposite, so it'll be 1, negative 1. So you plot your vertex. What is this? I guess 1, negative 1 is here in the middle, since that's 2 and this is negative 2. So we go for the middle, 1, negative 1. And A equals 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. This one's really skinny. Okay. Alright, this one, once again, A equals negative 1. The vertex is negative 4 from here, and then negative 4 from here. So that means it moved to the left 4 and down 4. All you have to do is plot the vertex, negative 4, and then negative 4. And it opens downward. So just go down 1, down 1. Okay. Alright, so this is the interesting one where you have to come up with the equation, and all they give you is the graph. I'm going to do number 7, not number 9, okay? So the first thing you do is you identify the vertex, and the vertex is negative 4, 1. So what does this mean? This means that it moved to the left 4 units and then up 1 unit. Okay. And then it opens up. So we know that A is a positive number. And then you find the, well, the way I do it is I notice where the next perfect intersection is, and that height means that A equals 1. Okay? But I'm going to show you a different way of getting A this time for those of you that are struggling with the A. Okay, so the first thing you do is you write your basic equation. You put A as A, because we're going to pretend we don't know what A is. And this one modifies the x. And remember, when we put this one in, we put it in as the opposite. So it would be x plus 4 squared. And then this is your k, so plus 1. Now we have to find A. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick this point or this point, whichever point you want to pick. Okay, so but they have to be like a perfect intersection. So if I pick this one, that's negative 3, 2. Okay, so the point that I'm picking is negative 3, 2. That means x is negative 3 and y equals 2. So you're going to plug in. What's negative 3 plus 4? 1, right? Negative 3 plus 4 is a 1. 1 squared is just 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, so A equals 1. So then your final function is just x plus 4 squared plus 1, because the A is a 1, so we don't have to write it down. So the technique to finding A is just find a point on the graph, substitute it in, and then you'll know what A is without any fanfare. Okay? We're going to try it again. So the first thing you do is you read the vertex, and the vertex happens at 2, negative 4. Okay? This is the vertex. What does the vertex means? It means this is H, so it moved to the right 2 units. And it moved down 4 units. So then you start with the equation. This is positive 2, so we'll put it in as negative 2 into the function. And that's a negative 4, so it's going to go down as a negative 4. Next, you need to identify a point on the graph. So I'm going to go with this one, a different point than the vertex, okay? This point is 3, negative 3. Okay. So the x is 3 and the y is negative 3. Okay. So I plugged in 3 for x and negative 3 for y, and now I'm going to solve for A. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 squared is just 1. I'm adding 4 to both sides. Minus 3 plus 4 is a positive 1. So then my final answer, A equals 1. So it's just x minus 2 squared minus 4. Again. So the first thing you do is you find the vertex. The vertex happens at 3, 3. So you plug it in. We don't know A. H is 3, so that means we moved to the, you do opposite, right? So if this is a positive 3, we're going to put it in as a, and then K is a positive 3. So this means that it moved to the right 3 units and up 3 units. Okay? Now you're going to pick a point on the graph, and it, you know, as long as it's an intersection point, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to go with this one, and that point happens to be 2, 2. So x is 2, y is 2. So I'm going to substitute in. Two minus 3 is a negative 1. Negative 1 squared is a positive 1. And 2 minus 3 gives me a negative 1. So a equals a negative 1, so the final answer is going to be and that makes sense because it opens down, it goes to the right 3 units, and it goes up 3 units. One more time. Alright, the vertex is negative 1, negative 1. So that means it moved to the left 1 unit and it went down 1 unit. This is a negative 1, so when we put it in, it's going to be a positive 1. The k stays, so it's still a negative 1. Next, you go and you find another point. So I found this one, negative 2, negative 2. X is negative 2, y is negative 2. So negative 2 plus 1 is a negative 1. Negative 1 squared is just a positive 1. Now I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I get that a is a negative 1. So my final answer is going to be negative x plus 1 squared minus 1. Next one. This one. This vertex happens at 1, 2. So that means you move to the right 1 unit and you went up 2 units. So y equals, remember you do the opposite for the h value. So this is a positive 1. We're going to put it in as x minus 1. And then the 2 is the k, so that's going to stay. Okay, plus 2. Now you're going to go in and you're going to go find a point. And this point happens at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, at 2, 4. So x is 2, y is 4. Two minus 1 is 1. One squared is just 1. We get that a equals 2. So the final answer is, for a, you're going to plug in a 2, and everything else stays the same. Alright, last one. This is 3, negative 2 for your vertex. So that means it moves to the right 3, down 2. And then a, we'll find out, we'll figure it out. So we have y equals a. When we plug this one in, what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to put it in as the opposite. Now we're going to go in looking for a point. Let's pick this one, 4, 0. Okay. What's 4 minus 3? 1, right? 1 squared is just 1. And if we add 2, a equals 2. So the final answer is going to be y equals 2x minus 3 squared minus 2.